Well, good morning, students. I'm so happy to be here today. And I'm so happy to be your teacher for the next semester. So welcome to our classroom. My name is Mrs. Hanson, and I thought we would start today by me telling you a little something about myself. If you look at our PowerPoint, I wanted to tell you that I am from the United States, and I am from the state of Minnesota. How many of you have ever heard of Minnesota before? Anyone? Well, if you look under the M of my name, that is my state. So you can see I'm way up north in the United States. In fact, I'm right here under this M. This is about where I live. So we are in an area of sometimes very hot, but sometimes very cold, and sometimes a lot of snow. So sometime I'll show you a picture when it snows at my house, okay? So that is my name, and that's where I'm from. I am a teacher, and I teach students in the United States in Minnesota who are about 14, 15 years old. I'm excited to get to know more about you, and so as we go, don't be surprised if I ask you questions about you, because I am curious. Curious is one of our vocabulary words for today, and I am a curious person. I will care about you, and I want to know more about you. So, in order to get to know more about you today, I want to ask you a question. Who knows what these are? Can someone tell me what these stand for or what they are? Robert, what are these? Yes, they're the Olympic rings. These rings represent the Olympic Games, right, which are going on right now. How many of you are watching the Olympic Games on television sometimes? Almost everyone? Well, I am too. I love the Olympic Games. And you have exciting athletes from your country at the Olympic Games, don't you? In fact, my daughter and I watched the Chinese women's volleyball team beat Brazil the other night. That was very exciting. That was very fun. Great. Okay, so now that we know that these are the Olympic rings, I want to ask you a question. What is your favorite sport in the Olympics? What is your very favorite sport to watch in the Olympics? Or it might be something you play yourself. And I would like you to answer, my favorite sport in the Olympics is, and then if you give me a reason why that is your favorite sport. So say, my favorite sport in the Olympics is whatever, and then say because, and then tell why you like that sport. Okay, I will start. My favorite sport in the Olympics is women's volleyball, because my daughter played volleyball in high school. And so I enjoy watching women play at a high level of competition. Okay? That is my favorite sport. So, who would like to start? Who has a favorite sport in the Olympics? Lee? And here we would go through all our favorite sports and talk about why they are their favorite sports. Well, that is awesome. I enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing with me. I look forward to finding out more about you. And one thing I would invite you to do for tomorrow is, I would like you to come tomorrow with a question for me. I would like to have you ask me something tomorrow. I want you to be curious about something, whether it is my school, my students, where I live, what I do. Okay, so you think of a question for me for tomorrow, and I will ask if you have a question for me. Okay? Promise? You will do that? Okay, great. Great. Well, here is what our lesson looks like today. Thursday, August 18th, today. We got to know each other a little bit better, and then we will be going over our vocabulary for today. We have some great vocabulary words. My students work on vocabulary in America, and vocabulary is very important. And so we will go over those words more than once today, and we will look at them tomorrow as well. And then we will today be reading a short personal narrative called Growing Together. Does anyone know what narrative means? What is that? Does narrative bring it to mind anything? Lee? Yes, a narrative, a telling of a story. Correct, great. The telling of a story. Now, does this sound like it would be fiction, made up, a fake story about somebody? Or does this sound like it would be a true story? Anyone? Yes, good, Robert. Yes, it is a true story, and personal meaning personal about me, or personal about the author. So a personal narrative meaning a story, a true story about someone's life, or a piece of someone's life. So our personal narrative, our story today is called Growing Together. And then after that, I would like to talk with you a little about words in context. Context, it's a difficult word, but a super important meaning. Words in context meaning when we find a word when we are reading that we do not understand the meaning for, then we take a look at the words around that word, or we take a look at the sentences around that word, and we can get clues as far as what that word might mean. Very important. In America, we have reading tests, just like you have tests, and our tests often have to do with vocabulary. And I teach my students a lot about context clues, because you will not always know what word you are reading. But if you have that tool in place, if you can get clues from around the word in the context of the reading, you will have a very powerful tool to be able to figure out words. Even I don't always know what a word means, but by trying to figure out using context clues, that works very well. Okay, so that is one thing we are doing today.